Ryan gave me like just a little bit of your story. What started everything? What did you start noticing? What are your symptoms?
Well, I don't know if you'd like me to go back to, so I had some health issues even prior to my breast cancer diagnosis. So right before I got married in 2017, I was diagnosed with fibroids. Um Fibroids are usually like really common they can be really common with a lot of women. Mine and my mom had had them in her life as well, but mine were significant. And I ended up having to have a myomectomy surgery, which is a pretty intensive surgery. I had to see an oncologist, gynecologist regarding that. Um, and so kind of when I was navigating that is actually when I was noticing a lump on my lower left breast. And I believe I was around 36, 37 at the time. I actually turned 40 last week.
Happy birthday,
I
by the
had,
way.
oh, thank you. It was a little different this year, but also a little more thankful too. But so let's see here. So I went to see my normal gynecologist before my myomectomy surgery, because I had an IUD at the time and I was wanting to have that taken out, just kind of, and also just have him check out everything before. And I asked him about the lump, and and this is someone who had been my gynecologist my whole life, by the way. And he discovered my fibroids, so I appreciated that. But he basically said not to worry about the lump, that it seemed to be a benign fibroid cyst, and just not worry about it. So, to be honest, I kind of just put it to the wayside and was just dealing with the fibroid issue. And then, going through that, and then my husband and I afterwards were trying to see if we could have children. Turns out I couldn't because my fibroids just basically like deteriorated my uterus. And
Wow.
and then I went through some IVF and hormonal treatments, which I do wonder if that kind of exacerbated what ended up being my breast cancer. Um, So then I was noticing the last couple of years that the lump was like getting bigger, and that I probably should get it looked at. And so I actually at my follow up with my oncology gynecologist about my fibroids not this past October, but the one prior, I had asked for a mammogram, and he kind of was surprised that I wanted a mammogram. Why do you think you need a mammogram? Kind of in a way where I felt a little like it wasn't appropriate for me to ask for it,
Mm-hmm.
which I know that I think over 40s when you're supposed to get mammograms, but also I would think given my medical history with the fibroids are estrogen driven. So like those are all things that were like happening in my body. It kind of makes sense that they'd be correlated. So then he did give me a mammogram order, but then I kind of just put it to the wayside again. And then about a year later, I started thinking, okay, I think I really need to get this looked at. And that's when I asked my primary care practitioner is Ryan Bristol, who does conciergeship, who is also someone I've known since I was about like 5 years old.
Wow,
Um,
how'd you guys
yeah,
meet?
we actually grew up in the same neighborhood, and our parents are family friends, and so we've been friends a long time. And
Nice.
he also had been on me about like getting blood work done, and I kept kind of, I'll get it done, I'll get it done. But he did order the mammogram for me, and so I went and got the mammogram done, and honestly, I was thinking, oh, like it's probably just gonna be like the gynecologist said that this will be a benign fibroid cyst. And mind you, I work in the medical field now. I worked in the medical field in a different field, but in the medical field where I do know a lot of physicians. And so the day of my mammogram, I did know who the the radiologist was on staff, and I ended up having a diagnostic mammogram
Okay.
because I had felt a lump. That's what they do is they do a diagnostic mammogram, which means they do a an ultrasound right after. And so literally right after my mammogram, the radiologist, I talked to him on the phone because I think he must have been viewing images from a different room or something like
Mm,
that.
most
Um,
likely.
yeah, and he told me, you know, first he was very, because I have a rapport with him, but he told me, you know, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is breast cancer.
Wow.
And so I have to say I was very shocked because I really didn't think it was going to be that. So first of all, I was a little obviously taken aback, and then he said, "Well, now well the next steps we'll do a biopsy." And then, you know, he told me what oncologist he thinks I should see, who I also knew, thankfully, from my previous work. And I know that I got in pretty quickly because when I went to make the biopsy appointment, they were telling me it was going to be about a month before I was going to even get the biopsy. And the radiologist stepped in and said, no, I'm going to see her next week. And within that span of time, I had a biopsy, a PET scan, a breast MRI, a brain MRI, all within like a week and a half. Then I was told I was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer. And so usually, you know, I feel like if you hear stage 4 cancer, you're like, well, gosh, like that's it, you know? And so that all happened the last Friday of September of 2025 is when I had my mammogram. And then it's all just been like a whirlwind since that time.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And then, so then when I first saw my oncologist, you know, they do all your initial blood work and everything, and my sugar levels were really high. They were in like the 300s. And one thing, I mean, I do want to say, I think my oncologist is great, but I've definitely seen there's a box that certain folks stay in and that they just, and I don't know if that's the training or how things have just kind of always been. Doesn't mean it's the right way.
I think it's both.
Um, yeah. And so their instruction was talk to your provider about your sugar levels, and if you don't feel well, go to the ER.
Hmm.
And that's the last time that they've spoken to me about anything like that. No diet, nothing. Not how to navigate, you know, that side of things. And so Ryan, he's the one that has been the one like making sure my sugar levels are okay, putting me on a GLP-1 to help manage it. I have a monitor on my arm that I self-manage my sugar levels because, you know, cancer loves sugar.
Hmm.
And I mean, who knows, like, if maybe that's also why things have been so crazy was because of, you know, my diet and what had been going on.
Hmm.
And so without all those things combined, I mean, I just finished my 4th round of chemo last week, and people usually at this time, I think, feel like they can't even get out of bed.
Hmm.
And I have not felt that way at all.
That's amazing. How
Yeah, I
has your
mean,
journey been? How has each chemo been for you?
so I mean, I would say the first two were probably the hardest, just because like I didn't obviously know how it was going to be. And then also one thing I'm a little bit thankful for is that I saw the infusion room before starting chemo because I was having really low magnesium levels. And then that's another thing where my oncology team wasn't trying to figure out why I was having low magnesium. They were just saying, okay, well, we need to give you fluids, IVs for it. Whereas Ryan he figured out why. I was on a blood pressure medication that was depleting it. And then also because of being on this GLP-1 and managing my diet, I'm not even on blood pressure meds anymore, ironically, which is like things I was always really trying to get off of. And then I'm ironically have fixed that problem, you know? Um, and then another thing, the first two rounds were probably the hardest, and then that's when Ryan really started talking to me about looking at fasting before chemo and research that he'd been doing about how doing a 36 to 24-hour fast leading up to your chemo. There's studies that show that the chemotherapy can attack the cancer cells better than just attacking everything, which even as a lay person, like, okay, chemo, that means like every good and bad cell is going to get affected by this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Ryan it's almost like you treat it as an athlete. So like he would have me kind of work on, okay, non-chemo treatment weeks, let's do a 24-hour fast and see how that goes. And then he would do it with me. And like his wife would do it with me too, and kind of like have that team effort. And then I have to say my second or my third chemo, I did the fast, and like that, ever since that time, my uh side effects have been minimal. I mean,
Wow.
the most has been really the the steroids that they give you. So they give you steroids the day before, pill wise. You get it intravenously day of, and then pill after. And that makes me feel a little bit crazy because I don't feel like myself, one. And then
I know
you
that
can't really
feeling.
sleep, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I was on high dose steroids for a while
Yeah.
every day, and it
Oh,
made me crazy. Made
yeah,
me
and
literally insane.
you don't feel like who you are, and that's the worst thing. I mean, I almost would rather have like a physical side effect than that,
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't feel like yourself. And then there's this thing called chemo fog, which also I only heard about from other people, not really my oncology team, and where you get forgetful, and you don't again feel like yourself. And I also feel like the fasting has helped that too. Yeah. And then the best news that I've received so far is that last Monday, my fourth chemo round, my cancer markers are down to 31, which is considered normal. And prior to treatment, it was at 116.
Wow. That's
And then
incredible.
yeah, and then I can't physically feel my breast lump. Um, my oncologist can't either. Also maybe to backtrack, the reason it's stage 4 is because it metastasized to my lymph node, and then some areas of my bones and a couple spots on my liver. So that is why it's stage 4 and
Okay.
considered not curable, I guess. Um, Sorry, I feel like I kind of might be going all over the place, so let me know if I need to
No, no.
navigate a little more.
No. No, no, no. I want to hear the
Okay.
story and then I'll jump in and no,
Okay.
this is amazing. And I love the
Okay.
fasting part because I do IV hydration right now, and I
Okay.
have a few clients who have done the 36-hour fasting, and they do high dose vitamin C, which
Mm-hmm.
fakes sugar in the body. So the
Yes.
body, the cancer cells attack that vitamin C and then it gets depleted. So it's so amazing to hear Ryan, prescribing this fasting, and it's definitely showing. And the allopathic medical system does not talk about it enough.
No, and it's funny because I brought it up to my oncologist a little bit, and I don't really feel like, and again, I don't know if it's because the studies haven't been made, or um that's not in their wheelhouse specifically, but they don't really, I know they can't really feel like they can prescribe it to their patient or even go that way. But even in my current job now, there's a couple of physicians I work with, and when I say the fasting, I can tell they're kind of like, "Oh, really?" And then, "Oh, are you sure you're hydrated enough? You don't want to be depleted going into chemo." And I have not felt that way. It's the
Yeah.
opposite.
Because it's basically a water fast. You can still drink
Hmm.
water, you're
Yeah,
just
I have a water,
fasting.
electrolytes, and
Hmm.
black coffee. I will say the hardest thing is just I do love in the morning like coffee and creamer, as it's ironically that's been the hardest thing for me with it. But it's like if it's your life, I think you can kind of handle it. A
It's
30,
temporary.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
It's a
Yeah.
temporary.
And another thing too, which was interesting finding out, is my arm was really bothering me before I got my mammogram. And I played softball growing up, and so I was thinking, oh, it's probably a injury from softball. Like I was having issues throwing the ball to my dog. Like it would just be really hurting. And then I found out that I have a cancer lesion there. I actually had the biggest one there. Um, and they did do radiation for that the week before I started chemo. And now I have no pain there at all.
Amazing. That's so
Yeah.
amazing. Thank goodness. Oh my gosh. So, what diet changes have you made with Ryan? What has he gotten
So,
you doing?
it's really obviously watching my sugar levels and even things that are, zero sugar doesn't mean that that doesn't have sugar or it's not going to affect you. So really just looking at things that I eat that then watching with my monitor how it affects my sugar levels. Really high protein um vegetable diet, low carb. Um, and also the GLP-1 helps with like those, I guess even like addictive ways of wanting bad food too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really helped my mindset with that I don't really crave that stuff as much.
Good,
Um,
good.
but days that I do want something, I'll have it, but it's all about the balance. And um, I'm also not going to in and out every day, type of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. I've found that, a whole food diet is the best for the body, just, what the earth and the animals provide us. It's
Yeah.
really
And
shown.
even it's so funny because growing up, it's like you were taught to have non-fat milk and low fat and low sugar and like Ryan's been telling me, if you're gonna have a protein shake, use whole food or whole milk, like whole
Mm-hmm.
foods, vegetables, fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, things from the ground. Um, have that good protein, not the overprocessed protein.
Yes.
And then you can tell that your body just feels better too.
And your brain works better. You have like a clearer mind and
Yeah.
yeah.
And then also another thing is doing some type of movement every day. So, not gonna lie, I mean, the first like month of my diagnosis, I was in a bit of a fog and like kind of just like dealing with it all. And I mean, I honestly feel like Ryan is also like my therapist. Like he does not give enough credit for, I wish everyone that had a Ryan like I do. Um, but so it was like doing the fasting and then it was like, okay, now do some type of movement every day, even if it's the days of your treatment week and you feel exhausted, walk around the neighborhood for 10 minutes, get a light weighted vest. I ended up getting a old spin bike from a friend of mine and downloaded the Peloton app and started doing that. And then now I do and then actually my current boss bought me a Peloton for Christmas, which was amazing.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love
Yeah.
the
And so
Pelotons.
me too. And so little things like that mentally has saved me. I mean, if I and also keeping a normal routine, trying to go to work every day if I feel like I can. But also I work at a place where if I need to work from home, I also can. So I'm very thankful for that too. But there are days where if I have stayed home, I mentally don't feel as good as if I was living the normal routine that I was doing without having cancer.
Yeah,
And
routine is a huge thing.
hmm having that balance is so important because I really noticed during the holidays where I was off work more and yeah, holidays are great, but it was also probably the more emotional time I felt just being out of a routine that I was used to being in too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think our human minds like something to look forward to consistently. And when
Yes.
it breaks or, you get out of it, it kind of sends you into a rut.
Yeah, you can go to some dark places too. Like the mind is powerful in ways where it can help you amazingly and it can also hurt you tremendously. Um, the meditation is another thing that Ryan's emphasized with me that I never did before. And imagining, each tumor in my body and it not being there, even me being told things aren't curable, like we can still handle this and attack this, and I can still live a life.
Yeah, and the honest reality is that most things are curable. Most diseases right now we're finding it's all kind of unraveling. And something I talked with Ryan about is almost everything's curable by lifestyle changes.
Right. And so that's another thing where, you're being told that something's not curable. And then also, it's been very, oh, when I go to my oncologist and I've had patients of 5 years with this or 10 years with this, and I'm thinking, wait, what? So you're saying that's me, you know? But then my last appointment, I'm getting 3 hugs and saying how great I'm doing. And I have people tell me, like, your skin looks amazing. Usually people that are in treatment, they look gray, they look depleted. Because I'll tell you what, people in that infusion room that are getting chemotherapy, they do look defeated. It is
Yeah,
jarring.
yeah,
And
you
it
look
is,
amazing. You look like
thank you.
you're shining. Yeah, and yes, it's so true. When you don't take care of your body when it's going through that kind of treatment, it's killing you.
Yeah,
And if you're not treating your body, the way Ryan's helping you is a blessing, you know. It's so amazing
it
to hear.
definitely is. Because I have to tell you, if I didn't have that, I mean, like you said, it would be so easy to just go down a hole and think, well, this is it. Like, what's the point? Because pretty much everyone in that infusion room looks that way. I will tell you that.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what I'm preaching. I'm hoping that we can bring awareness that there's cures, from the allopathic system that drives medication as a cure, but it's not really a cure, you just stay in that
Yeah,
forever.
I mean, and like my blood pressure issues that I had since my 20s, like you shouldn't feel like you should be on a drug like that the rest of your life and that's acceptable.
Mm-mm.
But our society, especially this country, I feel like it's okay, well, here I'm on a maintenance drug, that is what it is, and that doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, yeah. I love hearing other stories. Your story is amazing. So how are you feeling right now? How many treatments do you have left? What's your
So right now I have 2 more treatments left. And then I'm getting another PET scan this Friday. So that will be my second PET scan since my initial one. So we'll really see exactly, like how the tumors are, if they've shrunk, if they've spread. I mean, God willing, I don't think they've spread because my markers are indicating that, things are going really well. Um, I am what's called HER2 positive, which I don't know if you are aware of what that is. I'm not even fully aware of everything that I have going on, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um, but it is a very aggressive form of breast cancer. So, but also luckily they have a injection drug that targets that exact hormone. Um, so I get that during chemo, and I will
okay.
continue to get that for the rest of my life.
Okay.
Um, which I know I just preached about, like not being on a maintenance drug for the rest of your life, but if that's something that I need to be on, then absolutely.
Yeah, there's a difference in you
Yeah.
taking care of your body and preventing something than being maintained chronically and not,
Yes.
taking care,
Exactly.
learning how to take care of your body.
Yeah. So then, basically, I will get. My oncologist said that she did not foresee me needing more cancer or chemo rounds after my last one in February, and that I will be put on a estrogen suppressant drug, and then the HER2 injection, and then I believe then I will obviously continue to get scans to make sure everything's okay. And then I'm not sure if I can, because at the time of my diagnosis, I could not get a a mastectomy because it would cause the cancer to spread like wildfire.
Mm, yeah.
So, I do think that there's a possibility that if things are controlled, that I could have that. And if that's the case, then I will get that. I just want to make sure I can do everything I can to, you know, be in charge of it. And um, the way that they describe my cancer is that it's not curable, but it can like go to sleep, I guess,
Hmm.
or be dormant. So I kind of look at it in a way of autoimmune disease, I guess.
Yeah, you
Is
just don't want
a
to
way.
trigger it. You
Yeah.
take care of your body, you do the movement, you do the food, you do the
Hmm.
fasting. All of it together will keep it dormant. And that's basically
Yeah,
curing it because it was probably dormant inside of you before and it just got
exactly.
triggered.
Right. And also just because my chemo's done doesn't mean that like the work is done. So, like I will continue to do fasting. I will continue to do things with my body that to make sure that I'm in control of things. Like my head right here, my hair started falling out pretty quickly because I am on the probably the highest type of or harshest chemotherapy medication that you can be on. And again, Ryan again, but he said, why don't we shave your head so you control the cancer, it's not controlling you.
There we go.
And luckily I have a pretty good shaped head. So,
Yes, it's beautiful. You look amazing.
thank
You
you.
look so amazing. You're bright. You just look strong and that's so important when you're going through this. It's so important to stay mentally in control, what Ryan's helping
It
you with.
it is. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's been days that I have felt, you know, dark, but the light is way more than the dark. I mean,
Yes. And
I-
it's appropriate to feel those dark feelings because they're all valid.
yeah.
It's a scary situation, but
Hmm.
you're in control.
Right, and that's the thing, and most of the time I feel pretty happy. It's more just like the little things I mean they're not even little, but shaving my head, then going to work and having people see me and you know and now I look at it and I'm all I can't believe I even cared about that. Like all I care about is, me attacking this disease. But you just don't think you're going to be 39 years old and diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer ever, you know?
Yeah. Nobody does until it hits them.
Right.
And I know that feeling. I know that
Yeah.
feeling. It's like, what? This happened to me?
Yeah, and then you can definitely start thinking like, well, why is it me? Why is this happening to me? And like I had all my fibroid issues before and I can't have children and I'm like, haven't I been through enough, my husband and I with that? And now it just makes you think like, wow, the perspective of what I thought was the hardest time definitely was not. I do hope this is the hardest time though, because I don't know if there could be any more.
Well, this will be the hardest time because now you'll know how to handle anything. That's what
Yes,
my situation taught me was, oh, this is hard. And then I got through it and I was like, oh, now I can be a badass. And that's like
right.
where you're going. Now you can be a badass and tell people how to heal, and put their cancer dormant and how you did it. And I'm so excited to share this with our audience because anyone can do this. It's not just you.
Yeah, it's
It's not
not
just,
it's not a defeat, and
yeah.
also there's things like like one of my hardest times too, I think was when I had what was called chemo education, and it was basically an appointment going over a booklet of everything that chemo, what it can do to you. And it was the most depressing appointment I've ever had. And and then also I remember it was with a nurse practitioner and she said, "Well, you're what's under called palliative care." And I didn't even know what that was. And it wasn't even just defined to me. And then my mom looked it up later and the first thing she saw was like hospice. So we're thinking like the worst. But then you look and like, okay, it actually means like it's something that is managed care. You'll have a managed type of care your whole life. But also just not even being told what that is has been frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't I, I still so appreciate my healthcare team and everything, but there are those like little things that get lost where lay people need to know what that means.
Yes, there needs to be more simplified education and direct explanations to things because, uh, in my perspective, from being a nurse and from being a patient, is there's a disconnect. We have symptom matchers to a diagnosis and a medication to those symptoms. That's
Yeah,
pretty much all that providers and nurses and healthcare workers are taught, in my opinion. But there's a
right.
disconnect between, wait, you're missing something here. We're missing.
Yeah. I mean, and even, like I'm someone where I've never been on any type of antidepressant or anything like that. And I did ask Ryan, like, do you think I should go on something like that, like to deal with all this? Like, how? And he said, absolutely not. I think that we need to deal with it with your, being physically active and the meditation is like those are the healthy ways to handle this.
Yes,
Not relying on a medication to get you through it.
I agree with that because humans are meant to feel struggle. We're not meant to
Right.
struggle and then just be like, I need a pill. That's
Yeah,
just
I
not
mean,
how humans evolved.
yeah, but, I mean, cavemen weren't taking a antidepressant to deal with not being able to hunt and
Eat.
gather that day,
Yeah, yeah,
like,
no. We need to struggle in order to grow and thrive and the medical system today isn't built for that, I don't think. It's just built to
right.
prescribe.
And just like I think our society is so built on instant gratification of things too, where why it all kind of everyone has that mentality. I need this now. I want to lose this weight now. I want to, and so it's weird because it's like I have stage 4 cancer, but I honestly like feel like the healthiest I've felt in probably like 15 years. I mean, you think seizures, oh, well, then you have to be put on some type of medication to manage this.
And they put the fear. They say, you could die. You could stop breathing. You're probably going to die. That's what they told me for months. And they couldn't tell me why, you know. And I was like, I can't take this as an answer. As a medical person, you're like, no, I
Right.
can't. I just,
And then people that aren't having the medical background that you do, then they just take that as it is because that's we believe, okay, well, they have the training, so that must be what the answer is.
mm-hmm. That's why it's so amazing to hear Ryan just saying no. I want what's best for you. And what's
Yeah.
best for you is to do the work, to do the hard work, to earn an amazing like life, and you're going to be unstoppable, and you're going to get through this, and you're going to be able to share this with
Right.
others, and it's just it never stops. It's a never-ending blessing. You find the one person that changes your life, and
It's so true. And I remember when the first, 24-hour fast was discussed and Ryan's like, "Okay, let's start tomorrow." And I'm like, "Why don't we start it in a couple days?" He's like, "Sarah, this is your life. You don't have a couple days." And I really think that's when it really kind of clicked with me where okay, I need to get out of this fog, like this is actually what's happening and
mm-hmm.
I need to take control of it.
Yeah, and it is a fog. It's a
Hmm.
it's a trapping fog that
Yes.
we're all kind of in the same boat until something life-threatening comes at us. It's
Hmm.
hard to change your life if there's not a reason to.
Right. Otherwise, you're just in the same day-to-day thing, which is what I was going through. Like I knew I needed to get that blood work done that my provider Ryan had been asking me to do, but oh, I'll do it in a month. I mean, you should ask him. I put it off for like a year, that blood work,
Wow.
you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
used to be afraid to even get my blood pressure taken because I was afraid of how high it would be. And now it's just so crazy that those things are so minimal.
Yeah. Once you're in control, you know, once you're in
Hmm.
control of your health and your life, and those things are way easier. You're just like, yep, I know it's
Yeah,
probably good instead of, oh, I think
exactly.
it's bad.
I mean, I hope my PET scan on Friday will be good, but I mean, I have a feeling I'm gonna have some good news. So
I do too. You'll have to keep me in the loop now.
yeah,
I'll be
I
checking
definitely will.
in.
I think I still am confused on like my full like diagnosis of everything, but I also think that's because my oncologist was really wanting to make sure I got treatment quickly. But there is like just a lot of like miscommunication, I think, or just a lack of communication sometimes from the provider to the patient. Um, so that those things are a little tough, but besides that, like I mean, I'm obviously pretty happy with how everything's going, but I also know I don't know what it would be like if I wasn't doing the other things too.
I'm curious if that's being talked about because I do the IV hydration and a lot of cancer survivors and also people currently battling different types of cancer have done the fasting, have done the high dose vitamin C, like I was telling you earlier. They do have, has Ryan ever brought up hyperbaric chamber where you like put a mask on?
No, he might have, but no, and then have talked to him about like red light therapy and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he has thought that it would be good, but not really the hyperbaric chamber now.
Okay.
I've
Yeah,
heard
I'm
of
just,
it being used for therapy with even people with like autism and things like that.
mm-hmm.
But I'd be curious to know more about it.
Clients had talked about that have helped them. Maybe Ryan could look into that. But what they're finding is that it possibly could be a metabolic issue, and that's the reason, the fasting works and it starves those cells. And I'm always curious, is it our food? Have you looked into our food system?
Somewhat, and I mean honestly, I have felt for a while, like I had my first period when I was 10 years old. So, which I think is young. It was like the
That is
month for
young.
my 11th birthday. And then just my fibroid issues being hormonally driven. I mean, I really think it's the food that we've been eating on it. I've been
Mm-hmm.
thinking that for a while, even before my breast cancer diagnosis. I just think it's especially now too, it seems like so many people are getting diagnosed with younger people are getting diagnosed with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I've been seeing so many women and so many men getting diagnosed with colon cancer.
Yeah. Yeah. So it always makes me wonder, is there some ingredient in our food, or is it just the processedness, or, are we getting so backed up because we're overeating and overeating,
Yeah.
malnourished? None of us are, we're not really nourished unless we're eating whole foods.
Well, it's
The
true. And you know what's funny? My great grandpa, which he lived till he was 95, but my dad was telling me that he would do like a monthly fast. He'd do a couple day fast, like just for himself to like reset his body. So it's like interesting that he felt like he needed to do that and look at the longevity of his life. And when he passed away, he cognitively he was still there. Sadly he fell and broke his hip, and that just tends to happen in older age, and then things start to deteriorate after that. But I really do think that there's something that is in our food system that I also think that other countries they don't have the type of, additives or whatever is going on here, and they're having better longevity than we are.
Yeah, yeah, like Japan has like zero chronic disease rate, and their
Yeah.
medicine there is to go outside when you're sick and walk and eat good
Yeah, get
food.
the actual sun, vitamin D, which is probably why some of my
Yeah,
uh
you're getting it right now.
issues. But yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very important. And vitamin D is an extremely important hormone. And not
Which was
even,
another thing I was deficient on, by the way.
yeah, yeah. And it's its best form is straight from the sun. That's the only way the body can regulate itself. And it's not talked about enough because it's so
Oh,
important for
no.
females.
That's interesting. And then doesn't it also affect like your mood too? Vitamin D?
Yeah. It's such an important hormone that affects almost every organ system. And the fact that we don't go outside enough now, just in our society, it's just normal.
Oh, yeah.
You're working inside all day, and then by the
Hmm.
time if you do make it outside, you're not in the sun.
Yeah, especially
And
wintertime, it's dark.
yes, exactly. It has to become like a lifestyle change, but I've definitely seen studies where vitamin D straight from the sun is like it can be replaced through pills, but the
Yeah, and
best form.
that's another thing that I was put on a high dose vitamin D prescription
Hmm.
because I was deficient in it. And even in my past like blood work with just providers, as an adult, I've always been vitamin D deficient.
Yeah, yeah. Most people are these days. Yeah, and getting that sunlight, man, it changes the body. It doesn't only it regulates your circadian rhythm, the way you sleep, it regulates our hormones as women, and it's not talked about enough. That's another thing that I think the medical system keeps out from us is
Yeah, and
the
it also
pure.
seems like a lot of women are going through like perimenopause earlier. Like I have a lot of girlfriends that were feeling like not like themselves, and they'd go to their gynecologist and kind of get kind of shut down on how they were feeling. Or like,
Mhm.
oh, that's just you're going through menopause. Not like how can we actually help these symptoms, help your regulate your hormones? What can we do about it?
Mhm. Getting down to the why. I think we're
Yes,
missing that. Why is this happening? That's what
exactly.
every patient, anyone listening, why? Why is this happening? Keep asking why. If they can't tell you why, they're not, they're probably not the best provider. You have to know why. There's
Yeah,
always a reason. The body doesn't just make things up. It's a symptom to why.
the reaction to what's going on, and like you said, like my cancer has probably been dormant forever, but something
Mhm.
exacerbated it or made it flare up, because we all, right, aren't we all born with, we're all walking around with some type of cancer that we don't know about.
It could absolutely be triggered at any time, any age.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And lifestyle, preach it. I think lifestyle is medicine. The way you choose to live your life, the things you put in your body, the way you use your body, I think will heal you or hurt you, you
Yes,
know?
yes. And I've
Yeah.
noticed too, like if I have, like I really try to have no alcohol and things like that, because especially now, what's the point? But I noticed when I have had a little bit, those things completely affect me and how I feel. And they're not
Hmm.
good.
Yeah. Yeah. I cut back on alcohol. I feel it every time I drink. I'm like, it just feels like poison.
Yeah. And it's so much sugar too. So what do you primarily uh do you have your own concierge type business like Ryan, or um because you said you're doing the instant IV work with patients, and kind of what are you gearing towards, I guess?
So right now I work for a company that does IV hydration. I have a nurse practitioner that works above me, so it's not my own practice. But I do on my social media, I offer like one-on-one lifestyle coaching. So
Okay.
I don't have a degree like Ryan where I can diagnose and prescribe, but I can educate. So I educate on lifestyle changes the same way Ryan's doing incorporated into your treatment, but I don't do the treatment part. Like Ryan, who's coaching you on the lifestyle changes, they can keep their provider, but I'm there to help them, give them the time that they need to understand maybe why they're having those symptoms and why they have this problem. Because I think that's how we cure or heal. Or
I mean, that's basically right. Because I mean, if I just had like what you're doing is I feel like exactly like what Ryan does for me, where if I didn't have that piece, I would just be going through the motions of the treatment, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's important to have that grounding and someone who can coach you through, kind of be like your cheerleader and guide and all
Yeah,
of
most
that.
definitely.
Ryan's such an amazing guy. He helped me through a lot of my stuff too when we worked together and he helped me through. So I know how much of a supporter and just an amazing person he is.
He is, and I think he he doesn't get championed enough, so I want him to be able to, because he's a jokester and stuff, but
He is.
really like it's obvious there's a passion for, you know, healthcare, but also wanting people to be healthy. And that's the
Mm-hmm.
difference. Where it's like, I just think, sadly, in our healthcare system, so many providers, and also they're stuck in their like daily grind of things that they have to do. You know, you have to see this many patients per day, and it's becomes it's a business. But it's also then you're not getting enough time with your patient to see really what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Picking a provider that wants to see you healthy, wants to see you cured, and doesn't just reach for the prescription pad, asks
Right.
you why, asks you questions.
And
Those are
it's
the,
crazy too, like how many people are in that infusion room for chemotherapy. I mean, it's like you feel like it's the DMV where every like chair is being filled. And lately I'm seeing a lot younger people too, because when I first started going, a lot of uh, people would be like, "Oh, you're really young to be here," which also that didn't feel very good to hear because that doesn't make you feel any better. Oh, I'm congratulations, you're a young person to have cancer, and I know like
yeah.
children, it's sad when you see children have cancer, but it's like I'm seeing like my last treatment, there was a guy next to me that I think he looked like he was in his early 20s, and it's it's scary to see.
Yeah. I have a question, and if it's too personal, you don't have to answer. Did you get the COVID vaccine?
I did, and I have some thoughts and theories as to I feel like I don't want to be like a conspiracy theorist, but I feel like things are related to that.
When did you get it, and when did you start feeling the lump?
I got it in when it was available for everyone because I was in
Okay.
healthcare. I got it in 2021 because it was right. I got it right before my myomectomy surgery
Okay.
because I was told it'd be good because I was going to be in the hospital. And actually around like a year-ish, within that year is when I started feeling the lump.
Okay. Yeah. I'm I'm down that I have my tinfoil hat on right now, but
Okay.
I'm I
I mean, and
definitely
my husband
think
and I, we've talked about it too, where I do feel it's related. Also, I've never had psoriasis, and of course, psoriasis isn't cancer, but I have psoriasis on my elbows. I've had it ever since I've gotten the COVID vaccine,
wow.
and that's not an immune thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's also gotten way better since I've been doing the fasting, and it's ironic because they told me that chemotherapy would cause more skin issues.
Yeah, yeah, no. I think it's all backwards. And
Mm-hmm.
the fasting, cutting out sugar, cutting out fake sugar,
Yes.
and just eating whole foods. I don't like I see people curing autoimmune disorders. I'm like, what? Or, dormant or it
Yeah.
it
I
stays
mean,
on the back burner.
yeah, I mean, I had a friend who his wife passed away, and she had a heart condition. And so she was like one of the first people to get the COVID vaccine because of being considered, at risk area. And she basically passed away from an autoimmune disease that attacked like all of her organs. And which, mind you, I've not gotten the booster because I won't do that. But
Yeah.
I do feel like it's correlated.
Yeah. I got the booster, and months later is when I started having really bad seizures. Yeah, yeah. So that's where my conspiracy comes in too. I was talking to a firefighter and he was saying that he's seen a rise in younger cancer and it was right after the COVID shots. 20-year-olds with cancer. Boom.
Wow.
And heart problems.
Heart problems for men and like
Mhm.
younger men too.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of folks that are having AFib issues now too. My dad has AFib. He didn't have AFib before. He went in for a, a knee replacement, and then he was an AFib.
Yeah. And a lot of people in the medical field say, oh, that's age, or that happens with age, or maybe it's hereditary. But I just can't believe that anymore because it just doesn't make sense. It,
Right. I mean,
this didn't happen to humans years ago.
no, and don't get me wrong, like there's vaccines that I think are great, and like I'm so glad that we've had the science for everything, but I am glad you asked me because I definitely feel like these issues of mine there's has to be some type of correlation.
Yeah. And it's been difficult to talk about because so many people don't want to talk about it. But the important thing is we're all kind of questioning whether we've been injured. The best way to figure it out is talking about it. And
Yeah.
I was the same way. I was like, I don't know. Like, do I say it? Do I say that, you
Well,
know?
especially working in the medical field too, you
Yeah.
know? And
Yeah.
and like I don't want to take away from people that believe in it and whatnot, but it's also
Absolutely.
I also wasn't having the issues that well again, there isn't research about my breast cancer with it, but I have been feeling like there's some type of relation. My fibroids, I had that before COVID, but there's just a lot of things that I feel like have exacerbated or flared up because of it.
Yeah. 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 I always wonder now when I hear things, I'm like, did you get vaccinated?
Some of the people that I know that didn't get the vaccine that, stayed strong, I think that was pretty brave of them. I know a few people that didn't, and I
Yeah.
felt very pressured just being where I worked and also having a big surgery. I didn't want to get sick and, you know,
Yeah.
so
The thing I love about our medical system, Western medicine, is I think the if you get in a car accident, wonderful, and you break a bone, it's great. If you
mhm.
have an infection and you need antibiotics, I think our medical system's great. I think our system sucks at chronic illness and uh, being truthful about these cures and fixes, simple lifestyle changes, and uh, especially with our food system, you look
Yeah.
at it and you're like, are they causing this? Are they causing all these problems? You have to start questioning at some point because there's
Right.
so
I mean,
much.
because what's the like common denominator here, you know? And I mean, I just still think it's crazy that I've never had anyone from my oncology team talk to me about my diet ever.
Yeah, yeah, and that's mind blowing to me.
Hmm.
Mind blowing. And when I worked in the ER, I didn't have that mindset though. I never questioned. I was like, I hope they find cures for cancer. I hope this.
Yeah. Yeah. And, one thing I do appreciate, like my oncologist, I do think she's great. And before I started treatment, she had told me that she put in for a different kind of treatment that was a not what is it where it's not FDA approved yet or it's a
Like a
um
clinical trial.
clinical trial, yeah. If I wasn't going to respond to the chemotherapy treatment that I was on. Um, so I do think that I love that she was thinking ahead that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and thankfully I have responded thus far, and God willing, that I still do, you know.
Yeah.
My mom was reading a book right now about the guy that kind of discovered chemotherapy and how it all came about. And she said it's really interesting. I said I don't think I want to read that right now though, because I'm a little too much in the weeds on it.
Yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
interesting to read later in life, I think.
Yeah. A time and a place for that. Thank you so much for coming on here, by the way, and being
Yeah,
so vulnerable and open. And
happy to. I mean, I'm just happy that I'm feeling really great, and if it can help anyone and think about, and also not feel that in despair if it's happening to them. So
yeah, absolutely. And
thank you for having me too.
of course, yeah, Ryan told me just a tiny bit of your story, and I was like, I need to talk to her if she wants
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, he told me, and he was like, I think it'd be good for you too. And it's like, again, Brian being like my biggest advocate. So,
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and we all need that advocate in any way, shape, or form, whether it's the provider, whether it's a friend, whether it's someone you can confide in that has gone through this. Yeah.
right. Because, I know some people don't have a support. I am lucky. I have a great support system, not just Ryan, but my parents, my family, friends. But there are people that don't have that. And so,
Yeah.
um, I can't imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very important, and I hope everyone has that in their life.
And like your health wise, like you're feeling great and everything too.
Yeah, for the past year and a half, I've been seizure free and controlled with my diet, and I, exercise my body every day, and um, I'm so grateful to have figured it out. I was just so
Yeah.
disturbed by the non-answers I was getting and
And
just
then it's
being thrown
almost,
around.
yeah, you feel like you're getting kind of gaslit probably.
I have a question for you to wrap up.
Sure.
Um, Someone listening right now very well may be going through cancer treatment, may have just gotten diagnosed with cancer, and or just anything, is struggling with anything in life. What's one piece of advice that you would give them that you've learned from your journey so far?
I would say it's okay to have like those days or weeks where you want to have some self-pity and kind of loathe about it, but then you have to find a way to um have a fight in you, and it's not just like going through the motions of treatment or taking that medication, but figuring out holistically how to fight something, not just with the medications, but physically, what can I do every day for my mind and my body and myself? And like you said, having those things in our life to look forward to um,
Yes,
is really important, I think. And
I
I wish I
agree.
could say that I'm the one that came up with that, but it's Ryan. So
You look so good, and I'm
thank
just
you.
proud of your journey and so honored to have met you and learned about you, and
Well,
I
thank you
wish
for
you
having me
well.
on. And
Absolutely.
I'll be sure to update you with my scans and what I hear.
Yes, yes, please do email me, or I can give you my number, whatever you need. And if you ever need anything, I know you have Ryan and everything, but if you ever need anything, please reach out.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, Sally.
If you guys enjoyed this episode, please like this, share this with a friend, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time.